This episode of Rolling with Ray is sponsored by the Texas Boot Company, located in Bastrop, Texas, nationally renowned for hundreds of unique styles of exclusive boots, handmade by some of the best boot makers in Texas. Head-to-toe outfitters, whether you're all cowboy or just from the shins down, check them out and enjoy free shipping nationwide. Visit www.texasbootcompany.com for more information. In this episode of Rolling with Ray, you will meet the incredible Edwin Munoz. In September of 2018, Edwin was involved in a diving accident at a lake in which he broke his C5, C7 cervical vertebrae and nearly drowned. Today, he trains adaptive athletes at the Adaptive Training Foundation. And he runs his own nonprofit organization called the Edstrong Foundation. The foundation empowers those with paralysis and other neurological disabilities through fitness rehab, travel, and community. Edwin offers free rehab at his facility he built in 2020. He is currently training for this year's ultra distance bike ride on May 20th that starts in Dallas and ends up in Denver, Colorado. He hopes to cover over 1,000 miles. Edwin's goal is to push quadriplegics and other adaptive athletes living with paralysis to live life to its fullest. Come and follow his journey. It's my honor and privilege to introduce you to Edwin Munoz. Well, Edwin, thank you so much for being on my podcast called Rolling with Ray.
Hey, Ray, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
I'm great, thank you. Edwin, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. So can you tell me what happened to you in September of 2018?
Yeah, for sure. So the plan was to go out to the lake and go for a night swim. And like we've done, thousands of times in the 10 years that I lived there. And we went out, and when I dove in, the water was low. They had opened the dam up to let water out because we were expecting a lot of rain. So when I dove in, the water was unfortunately at 4 feet. So I was welcomed with a rock to the head and paralyzed instantly from the neck down. Suffered a spinal cord injury at the C5, 6, and 7 level. So
during that time of your injury, were you conscious the whole time?
I was. So I dove in and I shallow dove. So I didn't hit any rocks or anything until I was probably 5 or 6 feet out into the water. And then I kind of caught a jagged edge on a rock that was, kind of sticking out, and remained conscious the whole time. So I knew I was paralyzed right upon contact.
So I assume that your friends that were with you kind of helped you and called paramedics and all that stuff. And then I guess that you were Careflighted to a hospital?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you jump into the lake and they noticed that I didn't come up for a while. Thought I was messing around, of course, the typical, guy thing where you try to hold your breath underwater. We did that multiple times. So they didn't think anything of it until it was, a couple minutes that I didn't come up. And finally they jumped in, and, it took a couple times for them to find me underwater. And the worst thing about it all too was it started raining when we were out there. So, it made visibility hard. Careflight couldn't land. So we had to wait on the ambulance to find a way back there. And it was a waiting game at that point.
Wow. I'm sure that can be devastating. Where did you do your actual rehabilitation for your injury?
Right when I left the ICU, I had just turned 26, which is crazy because I lost my insurance off my parents. So I was uninsured, which really was a bummer because it didn't allow me to go to rehab that I actually needed to go to. But I got put on a charity bed in Waco and that's where I did my inpatient stay. So I was in the ICU in Temple, and then I was taken to Waco for about 2.5 months, where I got a surgery for stabilizing my neck. And then once I got insurance, I went from Waco over to Tier in Houston. I spent about 2.5 months there too.
Wow. As you know, I was hurt back in May of 1981, and at that time, my rehab was here in Dallas, and Dallas, Texas, and it was common for quadriplegics to stay in rehab anywhere between 5 to 6 months, and
Wow.
I stayed there 5 months. Yes, so it's different how the modern technology has improved. As you mentioned, you were only in the rehab 2 months. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how far we've come in terms of, knowing how to care for a quadriplegic. I know you had mentioned a while back, quadriplegics didn't live very long. Even before your time. So it is awesome to see how much technology has played an impact.
Absolutely. After your accident, Edwin, can you tell our viewers and our listeners what are the most challenging things that you have experienced as a quadriplegic?
Yeah, for sure. So I think, right after your accident happens, and Ray, you could probably attest to this, is just the acceptance of knowing that, your life is essentially going to start over. You got to live a whole new life. You got to adapt to all the new things that you're trying to do. So I think that was, for me, was the hardest part, just leaving. I was in the best shape. I felt like I was in the best shape of my life. So going from being the strongest person, physically, to, depending on machines to breathe for you, it's hard, and it's not easy for anybody. There's no way to prepare for it. And I think that was hardest for me at first, is just the acceptance of, having to, live this new life without, warning or anything like that. So yeah, I would definitely say just the acceptance of it all.
You are correct. There is no manual living with quadriplegic, and you just got to roll with the punches.
That's it. Yeah.
So I get these questions asked all the time from some of my viewers and listeners, and they're always asking, "Well, Ray, you need to ask them about your social life or their social life." So I'm asking this question to some of my viewers. Are you married? Or do you currently have a girlfriend? What do you like to do on your spare time, etc.?
No, so I'm not married, and I'm not dating anybody besides my foundation. So every bit of energy that I have, I put towards working with other athletes with the foundation, involved with like Adaptive Training Foundation. And then when I'm not there, I'm working on trying to grow my personal foundation, and pay it forward to those that come after me. So that's really what my social life consists of, which isn't very exciting, but we stay busy with events, and fortunately enough, there's a lot of people that support and are behind us. So we do manage to get plenty of social time in these events. And like I said, with Adaptive Training Foundation, I'm always out and about doing something with them. So yeah, that's pretty much what my free time consists of, man.
That's great. Do you currently drive?
So I will be driving. So I got my car. I got my van, which we discussed when I first met you, but it's in the process of getting modified. So I should be driving within the next couple months.
Great. It's awesome. You'll really enjoy that, I guarantee.
Yeah, it's a whole new piece of independence that's going to be awesome.
You recently, or just a while ago, you talked about the Adaptive Training Foundation in Carrollton, and I know you went through that. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that, and how has that helped you?
Yeah, for sure. So the Adaptive Training Foundation is a nonprofit organization in Carrollton, Texas. So they basically have a 9-week program that redefines. It's called the Redefine program, and it basically brings in, veterans and civilians that have gone through any kind of trauma, and, helps them redefine who they are in their new life, whether it's being an amputee, quadriplegic, paraplegic, and it's through exercise and community. So it just brings people of all different disabilities together. And for me, it was, that was probably the turning point for me, which allowed me to kind of stick around and now train there. But, I found ATF when it was probably the hardest point in my recovery. And to be able to be around people that are going through the same things you are was a complete turnaround for me. And, and they haven't gotten rid of me. So I stick around. I now train there. So I help train other athletes that come in through the 9-week program as well. So it's awesome, man. If you guys get a chance, you guys definitely need to stop by.
Absolutely. You started the Edstrong Foundation. I know you were talking a little bit about that, but can you tell us more about the nonprofit organization that you started?
Yeah, for sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, in my situation, I was uninsured right when I had when I was first injured. So having access to different rehab centers and equipment, even getting a wheelchair was tough. And the more I learned about people that were in the same situation, the more I saw that people were uninsured and, not getting access to different equipment and different stuff like that. So, through fundraising and stuff like that, we managed to get, a nonprofit organization started where we now pay it forward to those that, come after me, and help set them up with equipment, rehab, and, any kind of financial assistance that we can help take the burden off. So that's kind of what the gist of it all is. And then the crazy thing is we have a gym that I built in my backyard, and it's a full access gym. We offer rehab, free of cost to anybody who's in the area. So it's, again, like, just through the support system and everything like that, it's made it all possible, which we're forever indebted for that, for sure.
That's awesome that you're paying it forward and giving back to others, because unfortunately there are other people out there that can't afford things like that, and it's great that you're able to offer that service to those individuals. Can you tell me about your adventure that you'll be taking on May the 20th? You're going to be starting in Dallas, and you're going to end up in Denver, Colorado, on a bike ride. And my understanding is that to raise money and awareness for spinal cord injuries?
For sure. Yeah. So, following we have a 5K event in Waxahachie, Texas, on May 20th. And then from there, we will take off on hand cycles, which is me and Keith, another adaptive athlete who's a veteran amputee and also spinal cord injury. We will take off from Dallas and make our 1,000-mile trip towards Denver on hand cycles. To be 1,000 miles. Hopefully, the plan is to knock out 50 miles a day for about 20 to 30 days until we reach our destination in Denver. And yeah, it's all to raise awareness, raise, hope to those that are, thinking that life is over, and, ultimately challenge ourselves mentally and physically.
That's an awesome thing that you're doing, Edwin, and you should be very proud of yourself for what you're doing and your foundation are doing. I commend you for that. Can you tell me what drives Edwin Munoz?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I think the biggest thing that is my driving factor is just remembering being told that I was never going to do pretty much everything that I'm doing now. The hearing that you're never going to feed yourself, you're never going to dress yourself, you're never going to be able to exercise again. It's almost it drives a person like me to almost go out and prove them wrong. And, much less probably ride a bicycle 1,000 miles. So, I think the biggest thing that drives me is knowing that the possibility to do the things that you were told you were never going to do are, within reach. You just got to go there and get it and work for it. And, thankfully my support system has been everything. So, and that's just made up of family and friends that continuously back my crazy ideas and, help emotionally, financially push those forward. So, all that being said, I think that put together is my driving force.
That's awesome. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, wow, it's hard to even look at tomorrow, but I would say in 10 years, God willing, I'll have a well-running foundation where we have, different grant options and stuff to help other adaptive athletes. We'll have a well-running facility where we can offer rehab, hopefully free of cost, and then continue to help the Adapting Foundation grow in every aspect as well. Hopefully grow together. That's the biggest plan to come together and help adaptive athletes of all sorts.
Where can people reach out to you regarding your foundation, and can you give the name or your website for your foundation?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the website to my foundation is edstrong.org. And we can be reached through our website, through social media. Instagram is Edstrong Foundation, or my personal Instagram, which is Edwin Munoz. But yeah, I mean, email, any which form that you could reach out to somebody is all found on our website.
Well, Edwin, I have one more question, and since we're almost out of time here, and I appreciate you being on the show, but can you describe a little bit about the hand cycle to our viewers and our listeners that are watching out there? Are you actually going to be on a bicycle, or are you going to be on a hand cycle?
Yeah, so I'll be on a hand cycle. The hand cycle is pretty much, it is a arm propelled bicycle, essentially. It's got 3 wheels, 1 in front, 2 in the back, and we're almost laying down. So the crazy thing about it all is, you're moving your entire body, your arms, which it's not easy, but it is manageable to be able to it's a whole new learning curve, if that makes sense. So riding a bike is, propelled with your legs, but when you're on a hand cycle, knowing that you're doing everything with your hands and your arms, with shifting gears, all that crazy stuff, it's definitely a new learning curve. And I would probably say, I would feel comfortable to say that it's twice as hard as riding a bike. So it's been a lot has gone into training. A lot goes into, just getting comfortable on the road and stuff, especially being so low to the ground. But yeah, that's essentially what it is, man.
Well, Edwin, I appreciate you being on the show. Is there any other comments or questions that you have for me or our listeners?
I just really want to thank you, Ray, for having me on, telling my story, and again, from one quad to another, paying it forward to those that continue to come after us and, help. I appreciate you helping me see that there's also a lot at the end of the tunnel with whatever it is you try to accomplish, seeing that you have a lot more life lived than I have, man. There's a lot to learn from you. So I really appreciate it.
You bet, Edwin. And hey, I appreciate you being on the show, and good luck on all your endeavors that you're seeking, and also for your foundation, and good luck on that bike ride.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. There is another way to get a hold of us if you do want to, send us prayers, any kind of donation. It is through our website. So if there's anybody that wants to, reach out to us through prayer or words of encouragement, there's a link on our website that you can go directly to. So any words would be greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast called Rollin with Ray.
Awesome, Ray. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Thank you. Thank you for watching and listening to my podcast. I want to thank the Grossman Burn Foundation and the Texas Boot Company for sponsoring this episode. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on my YouTube channel called Rollin with Ray. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Should you be looking for a good read, please pick up my book called The Life I Didn't Expect, Facing Adversity and Winning on Amazon. Until I see you again, keep rolling with Ray. This episode of Rollin with Ray is sponsored by the Grossman Burn Foundation. The Grossman Burn Foundation provides medical, financial, and emotional support to families who have suffered a burn injury, and they aid in the development of a self-sustainable communities worldwide through public education, strategic partnerships, and teamwork. For more information, go to www.grossmanburnfoundation.org or email inquiries to info@grossmanburnfoundation.org, or you can call 866-411-4423 for more information.